In our care settings, we have the multidisciplinary team that operates with the preset that each individual's contribution is part of a whole system aimed at delivering quality care to our patients. This multidisciplinary team is made up of individuals with their different egos, with their various training backgrounds, educational qualifications that sometimes comes to influence the dynamics of a multidisciplinary team. And because of this, we sometimes have outcomes that are undesirable, not only to our patients, but also to individuals who deliver care. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Africa Health Insight. This time we have dedicated stories of healthcare professionals, inspiring stories highlighting what healthcare professionals they go through in their quest to deliver effective care to our patients. I'm Steven Elvis, your usual guest, and today I'm going to be sharing a personal story which sometimes has to motivate us to do more to be able to deliver quality care to our clients. We find ourselves in a context where, because of the administrative structure of our hospitals, there is no mutuality from the different disciplines in the multidisciplinary team. The communication is not respectful, and this puts the life of the patients at risk. Not only the life of the patients at risk, but it also affects the mental state of healthcare professionals. Imagine having to work as a nurse anesthetist. You have to perform anesthesia, but you have this emotional distress because you know exactly the right thing to do. But because of this administrative structure, you find yourself in a precarious situation of having to obey the orders of an administrator to the detriment of the patient, that's the mother and the baby, and to your own emotional state. Imagine being an anesthetist and you are working with a medical doctor who at the same time is the administrator of the hospital. You have a case of cesarean section indicated for acute fetal distress. Acute fetal distress means the life of the baby is at risk. Now, the whole team has been called by the midwife on duty, prepare the theater, everything is set up. I asked the anesthetist, I prepare the patient, everything is prepared, everything is ready. And the next step is to perform anesthesia. And the choice of anesthesia was spinal anesthesia. We called him to come for the procedure, and he orders me to perform spinal anesthesia while he prepares. It so happens that when you call the medical doctor to come, who is the administrator, he might be distracted with some administrative procedures. People might be in the office, others are waiting in front of the office. He might not notice that he is wasting time while the life of the mother and the baby are at risk. He orders me to perform spinal anesthesia, and I tell him, sorry, but I'll prefer to wait for you to come, so that as I'm performing the spinal anesthesia, you are scrubbed, you are ready to start the surgical intervention. He now tells me, go and perform the spinal anesthesia. Listen to my orders. I received his message and I decided I'm not going to perform the spinal anesthesia. Wait for more than 10 minutes and he arrives, the surgical block. The first thing he starts yelling at me, shouting at people, and telling me how I've disrespected him, why I didn't perform the spinal anesthesia and wait for him, that he was just supposed to enter the operating block and start the surgical intervention. And he doesn't give me room to explain to him. We expect that as a member of the surgical team, you understand the rules of each and every member of the team. And by understanding the rules of every member of the team, we will tend to operate with the concept of multidisciplinary team approach that values the contribution of each and every member of the team. The outcome of his approach is in multiple dimensions. The first thing is that it traumatizes me emotionally, psychologically. I'm not stable. I'm kind of, wait, what is happening? How am I going to work with this type of mental state? You're shouting at me, the anesthetist, for not performing spinal anesthesia, of which you know, when I start a spinal anesthesia, the life of the mother, the life of the baby is at risk if you are not there. Imagine that spinal anesthesia goes total spinal. We start managing the total spinal. Total spinal here means it switches automatically from spinal anesthesia to general anesthesia. Here, the life of the baby is at risk. And this baby, we are doing the cesarean section because of fetal distress. How am I going to have this balance? Am I going to respect the orders of an administrator, or I'm going to work within the scope of anesthesia practice to say I'm not going to perform anesthesia if the surgeon is not in the surgical block? Throughout the surgical intervention, he is angry, he doesn't talk to anyone, the anesthetic team is there, the surgical team is there, we are communicating but with the surgical assistant. This is a story that highlights the importance of teamwork. But in this case, imagine going through a cesarean section with no communication between team members. What are your views on this particular story? What are your views on teamwork in the hospital setting? What are the dynamics of teamwork where you work? A lot is changing, and we are glad that everybody is contributing to a more respectful, dynamic, multidisciplinary team approach to care that we give to our patients. We hope some of these stories are going to highlight what we go through as team members of a multidisciplinary team, and we hope they are going to shape the future of teamwork in our respective hospitals. So we want to thank you for being part of this community, and always remember to watch our videos to share your views and your comments, your experiences. And if there's any other thing that you want us to discuss in our platform, we are ready to have you as a panelist in our platform. So thank you and have a nice day.